Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the Trips and Global on Wheels podcast. So today I'm going to start off with a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And the quote goes like this: "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." And this quote is so true the more I live life. I think it's especially true for those of us who don't fit into the mainstream mold or live a life that is quote unquote normal. And at age 34, I feel like I am finally finding out who I was truly meant to be. And I feel even now I'm still scratching the surface. It's been a long and windy journey, as it is, I think, for many of us. And so I know I'm not alone here when we're in the pursuit of finding our passion, finding our calling, finding something that lights up our soul, however you want to conceptualize it, however you want to label it, finding that thing that really brings joy to us and that serves others. So I've gone on a number of different paths over the years, and in the last few years I've even done some I've gone on some spiritual journeys to help me explore. So I went on a 10-day meditation retreat a few years ago, which perhaps some of you have also done that as well. It was a lot of meditating. Before then, I was not meditating consistently, and to meditate for upwards of 10 hours a day, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, I believe. It was a lot. And it was an interesting experience, and it's not for everyone. So if you feel called to do it, go ahead. If not, obviously, don't. I really felt called to do it, so I went to that meditation retreat. And I also experimented with some psychedelics as well, and went on some ceremonies and did that. I don't super recommend it, doing psychedelics without a ton of research, and I felt really called to do it at the time, and I felt really lost. I felt really even borderline depressed, like low-grade depression. And I just didn't I was not super optimistic about my life at that time. And just searching for so many years at a time had worn me out. And so I finally was like, what the heck? I saw some YouTubers who did different forms of psychedelics, and they thought it was a very profound experience. I'm not telling you the name of it, and I'm not going into super detail with it, because it is something that if you're called to do it, do your research and check your medical history, because it is not for everyone, and you do have to take a lot of things into consideration. I kind of dove right in without doing a ton of background and checking into the negative side effects and the broader ramifications. I did a little bit of that, but not so much. So I hesitate, and I'm not promoting it. I'm just sharing with you what I tried. And I'm not giving you the name of it because I don't want to promote it in any way, shape, or form. Even though I think for a small group of people, I won't even label it as a small group of people. For a group of people, I think it could be very profound and very transformative, and will provide a lot of answers. And for some others, it may not, it will not. In fact, it quite possibly will bring on some issues if you don't do thorough research and check your own medical history. And so if you feel super called to do it, please do your research. Please seek a professional before taking it on, because some of those psychedelics out there are really strong. I know in recent years they've done a lot of research on psychedelics and the positive effects and on various medical ailments, and I believe that research is valid and some people do need it. So anyways, that's all I will say about it. I feel like the more I talk about it, the more convoluted I get. It just gives you an idea of where I was at, the state of mind, the long path journey I've been on to find what lights up my soul. Even though it's been so obvious, what I was meant to do, because people all around me have always told me. Even so, here I am at age 34 and just now feeling like I'm developing my own unique and authentic voice. I have a brief outline in front of me, so that's what I'm looking at it every once in a while to make sure I'm staying on track. So just like a lot of you, I felt a lot of doubt, feelings of doubt, unworthiness, fear, etc. in limbo for a number of years. And I think a lot of that was due to various factors. So many of you know, as from the previous video, the previous episode, I grew up in an orphanage. I was abandoned as a toddler, grew up in an orphanage for almost 7 years in China. And I was adopted to the US in 2001. So when I was growing up, there was a lot of negative messaging about people with disabilities, about people who cannot walk. And some of the negative messages were, just to share a few that I've had to unlearn, is my disability is something to be ashamed of. That is one thing that has been ingrained in my mind for a number of years, and I am just now in the last few years unlearning it. I've been unlearning a lot of things in the last few years. Another very negative message that I've learned growing up in China is that I should be embarrassed about my disability. I think regardless of where we live in the world, a lot of us with disabilities, especially mobility disabilities, have been taught this. Another one that is big when I was growing up was I need to be hidden away because of my disability. Even in the orphanage, the area where children with disabilities were located were way up at the top and in a corner where visitors, where it would be very hard for visitors to get to. Another big one, no matter where you are in the world, I think you all can resonate with, is I am a burden to society. I think no matter where we grew up in the world, a lot of us have felt this way. Especially I'm talking about those of us with disabilities. And another negative message is, because of my disability, there will be many hardships ahead. That's something I've had to unlearn as well. That's not necessarily the case, although that's also not untrue. I don't need to say it to those of you who have a disability, mobility or otherwise, that the world is not built for us. It's built for people who can walk. It's built for people who can see. It's built for people who can hear. It's built for the able-bodied society in general. And then the last one I'll share, there's so many negative messaging that I've had to unlearn over the years, but I'll just share a few, and this is the last one I'll share, which is that my disability is caused by sins I or my family have committed in past lives. And I know in China, a belief is that your mother committed a sin in a past life, and that's why she, gave birth to someone who gave birth to someone who has a disability, or something like that. It's a very negative belief, nevertheless. So I've had to unlearn a lot, and I know a lot of you who also are living in the intersection of all of these different minority identities also face the same kind of are experiencing similar unlearning. You're unlearning a lot of negative messaging that we've been taught over the years growing up that is just simply untrue. And because of that, it takes us sometimes a little bit longer to find that authentic voice, to find our calling, our passion. And that's okay. It's okay. Everyone's on their own journey and on their own timeline. The important thing is keep going, keep pursuing, and trying to find your passion, trying to find your calling, and serve the world in the best way that you can. Something that brings joy to you and that brings joy to others. So a few years ago, I signed up for and completed a coaching program, and then I was certified by ICF, the International Coaching Federation. It seems so obvious now in hindsight, coaching therapy work is what really comes naturally to me, because over the years, people around me, my family, my friends, just even strangers I would run into during my travels around the world, they would always tell me similar things. That I'm a good listener, that I ask thought-provoking questions, I ask reflective questions that really make them think. They always tell me that they feel empowered after talking to me, and they think of situations or problems in a way that they've never thought of before. And I was told this over and over and over, and it suddenly dawned on me a few years ago as I was sitting on my bed watching YouTube videos about coaching and thinking back through all the years of all these things that people have said to me, and it was a light bulb moment, as the saying goes. And unfortunately, even after discovering that it wasn't a smooth sailing process, the first step is not necessarily the first step, but half the work is finding what your calling is, your passion is, and then the other half is developing that skill, right? Getting the training, getting certified, coaching, and honing that skill so that you can really serve people as best as you can. And even after that light bulb moment, I've doubted myself. I felt unworthy. I felt like an imposter. Who am I to coach people? Who am I to pursue therapy later on? That is a path that I am thinking of at this point, just to add to my tool set of tools, of skills that I can use to help people moving forward. And so right now, my coaching emphasis is on, I coach around relationships, finding your passion, your calling, so career coaching, and then spirituality. So those are my big 3 coaching themes. If you're interested, I'll put the information below, my website, as well as my email if you want to contact me there. I have a bunch of testimonials on my website, so if you want to read about people that I've coached, if you want to read testimonials from people that I've coached, then feel free to do that. It's all on that website. And with that, thank you so much for listening. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my service today. I just wanted to share a little bit about myself and my journey to finding my passion. Hopefully I went on that very windy path of finding my calling, my passion, so that you don't have to, right? So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling directionless, if you're feeling in limbo in terms of finding your career path, finding your joy, feel free to reach out. We can do a free discovery call and to see if I am the right coach for you, and we can go from there. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you all next week.